After about a 2.5-hour drive north on US 15, I arrived at Cove, Pennsylvania, on the banks of the Susquehanna River. Just as I was getting out of the truck, two EMD SD-70 Aces pilot a loaded coal train east. I would later find out that this was NS-Y90, an extra 590 bound for Baltimore, Maryland's Consul Energy Coal Pier. We are at milepost 116 on the Norfolk Southern Pittsburgh Line, as Amtrak's eastbound Pennsylvanian crosses Railroad Street. The Pittsburgh Line runs from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in the west to Harrisburg in the east, and is Norfolk Southern's primary east-to-west artery in the northeast. At 1248, NS29G and 28X, both of which travel the entirety of the Pittsburgh Line, meet. Today's 28X has recently reactivated SD70M-2 number 2765 leading and Ferromex 4068 trailing in the latest version of their paint scheme. This is only the second Ferromex unit I have ever caught. At 1412, Conway to Allentown Mixed Freight Train 10K continues eastbound with Wells Fargo Leasing 8962 trailing. Due to a shortage of power, Norfolk Southern has leased 30 ex-BNSF SD-70 Max from Wells Fargo, which were fairly common on the Pittsburgh line during my trip. After 10K had passed, I headed to Walmart in order to purchase some supplies, and as I was arriving at Marysville, Pennsylvania, and the Bridgeview Bed and Breakfast, 10K was just now making its way to the fuel pad. Over an hour later. Minutes later, NS271 was given the signal to bring its train of J.B. Hunts westbound. 261 is daily intermodal between Port Newark, New Jersey and Chicago, Illinois. The first Rockville Bridge was constructed near the location of the current bridge in 1849 by the Pennsylvania Railroad and was a wooden truss bridge. After 30 years, in 1877, it was replaced by a two-track iron truss bridge which reused the same concrete piers of their original. At 1601, NS259 can be seen crossing the third and current bridge across the Susquehanna. The current Rockville Stone Arch Bridge was constructed between 1900 and 1902 and was the most expensive but vital piece of infrastructure undertaken by the Pennsylvania Railroad. The bridge cost $1 million to construct in 1900, which would now cost well over $36 million. Alexander Cassett, the president of the railroad at the time, was widely known for expanding the capacity of its main lines and constructing durable stone arch bridges, many of which have stood the test of time. The first train across the new bridge was on Easter morning of 1902, in which a crowd gathered to watch the first train pass. This aerial shot shows the location of the current bridge compared to the 1849 and 1877 bridges, with the green ovals once being the piers of the former bridge. While 590 takes coal loads eastbound, NS HO02 brings its train out of Enola with a cut of cars for the yard in Harrisburg. The Rockville Bridge is 3,820 feet long and consists of 48 70-foot arches, and is the longest stone arch bridge in the world. The bridge is composed of 220,000 stones, which took the 800 workers nearly 2 full years to construct. Throughout the Pennsylvania Railroad's vast history, the Rockville Bridge remained the largest bridge on their system that included over 10,000 bridges. On the last mile of its journey from Roanoke, 12Z brings its train across the bridge bound for Enola. Hidden behind 12Z is Priority Intermodal Train 26X, continuing eastbound for a crew change at the fuel pad in Harrisburg before continuing towards its final destination of Croxton, New Jersey. Bound for Enola, 10G slowly brings its train into the yard on Track D. Along with coal, unit ethanol and oil trains are a common sight on the Pittsburgh line, with most running between Chicago and various refineries in New Jersey. This is empty ethanol 65E, returning west to Chicago from Linden, New Jersey. As you have already seen, the Rockville Bridge is an incredible structure, and being able to view it from above with my drone makes it even better. This is Norfolk Southern Train 12R, which will be diverging into Enola Yard at CP Mary. The Rockville Bridge was constructed by the Pennsylvania Railroad, and after the merger of the Pennsy and the New York Central in 1968, fell under the ownership of the Penn Central. Following the largest corporate bankruptcy in history at that point, the bridge came under ownership of Consolidated Rail Corporation, or Conrail, who took over many of the dying railroads of the Northeast in 1976. When Conrail was split between CSX and Norfolk Southern in 1999, NS became the owner of this great piece of infrastructure and the entire Pittsburgh Line. Here is Priority Intermodal 27G, just 1 mile from its origination point at GI8 in Harrisburg. Just as 27G begins picking up speed, 20X rounds the curve onto the Rockville Bridge, with a trio of black and white ponies leading the train. Luckily, my drone is still in the air, allowing me to get a good shot of the rolling meat between the two trains. Since it has taken 20X over 8 minutes to get into the yard at Harrisburg, it allowed time for another train to meet them, this time H002 returning to Enola with a long train in tow. With yet another short train in tow, 274 also makes its way into Enola. Although in the 200 series denoting it is an intermodal, 274 is all mixed freight, which is usually the case north of Front Royal, Virginia. While the DPU of 10G shoves into Enola, 22M crosses the Susquehanna River. With a new crew on board, NS Y90, yes, the same Y90 we saw earlier in the day, heads south towards Baltimore. the sun now setting on the Susquehanna, mixed freight 38G brings a long train east for Abrams Yard outside of Philadelphia. Each evening in the summer, the sun illuminates the arches of the Rockville Bridge, creating a scene like no other. The arches are lit up gold, and a train passing over the bridge only makes it that much better. Now blanketed by nightfall, 27P heads west out of Harrisburg with its headlights reflecting off the Susquehanna. Coming out of Enola with 10Z's train is HO08, bound for the Buffalo line. Thank you all for watching, and for your patience between these videos. I'm sorry about how long it's been, but I have been very busy recently, and this was certainly not a video I wanted to rush out. So, I made sure to take my time, and this was the result. I hope you all enjoyed, and until next time, this is Commonwealth Rail, out.